Hello class, I have prepared this video to give you a description of the different components of the promotional solution proposal, which is the semester project for this course. And of course you can get the more detailed instructions in the document, in the PDF file available in Blackboard, but I want to give you this brief explanation just for you to make sense of what this project consists of and the different parts that make it up. So this is a promotional proposal that contains 4 parts. The first part, it includes the business and industry section, right? It includes a SWOT analysis, and it includes promotional needs or objectives. Second part is the STP strategy, the segmentation, targeting, and positioning, as well as the salient beliefs and attitudes that are to be influenced or modified in target segments. Part 3 consists of a creative brief, and part 4 will be the IMC strategy, the specific tools from the promotional mix that will be used for implementation in the integrated marketing communication campaign. So just briefly going over these different components. In the industry part, the business part that you have to start with, you have to give a description of what business you are using, right? If it's a restaurant, if it's a store, if it's a small factory, if it's a barber shop, whatever type of business you are using, you should describe it. What are the products and services that are sold to the public? You have to provide and identify who are the main competitors of that business. Who are the main competitors of the business that you are using? And industry trends. That's very important. You don't just have to say what you do in the business and who are your competitors, but what is the environment in that? Is it a sector that is growing, or is it like stagnated? Is it like stalled and it's not growing? Is it declining? And you have to provide references and sources that you can cite, right, from business publications, from newspapers, from interviews. So you have to provide some substantiation to that. If you say that this sector is growing because maybe you are this is a business that is a supplier in the oil industry, and then the oil business is growing, the energy sector is going up, then you have to provide sources to support that. Then you have to do a SWOT analysis, right? Remember this from your management classes, from your strategy classes: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Here, just remember and be very careful on this. The strengths and weaknesses, remember, these are internal to the company. These are things that you can you can control to some extent, right? Because these are things related to your resources, to your brand reputation, to your costs, to your human resources, to your finance, positive or negative, right? Things that you are strong on or weak. And opportunities and threats, these are external, and these are more on the environment, more towards the future. Are there things going on in the scenario, the external factors that represent opportunities positively, or are there threats, something that may change out of your control? Again, these are out of your control, that may pose a risk of something. So in this, you don't have to include too many SWOT elements, maybe one or two per factor, one or two strengths, one or two weaknesses, one or two opportunities or threats. And again, if there is no threats or there is no opportunity, well, you leave that empty. But here I also want you to please include sources, at least a couple of sources, references that you can say, well, there is a threat in this business sector because of technology that is moving fast and is going to affect my operations or the way that I produce. Who knows? Maybe you are a retailer or an intermediary in the distribution chain, and technology is a threat because people are buying online rather than going to your store, for example. I'm just making this up, but of course, you have to analyze this on a case-by-case basis according to your business. The same thing, opportunities, something that is in your favor out there in the environment. You have to cite and provide some support to what you are saying, correct? Now, the last part of the last section of part 1 is crucial for this project, because here you have to tell what are the objectives that this project is aiming to accomplish, right? What are the promotional needs and objectives for this project, right? Here you have to refer to chapter 1, and you have to tell what is the need or objective for doing promotion that you will propose. Promotional activities to accomplish what? And here you have, if you go to chapter 1, one of these objectives is to inform or persuade. You want to inform the public about something of your business. You want to persuade the public about the quality that you offer, for example, or the low prices, or whatever thing that you believe the public should know. But importantly, these needs and objectives that you will address are derived from the SWOT analysis. Usually, these objectives will be derived from weaknesses or opportunities that you identify in the previous part, right? Another common promotional need or objective is to introduce a new brand. So maybe in the SWOT analysis part, you identify a new opportunity for a new group of consumers that you are not serving now, or that are underserved. And then your promotional need or objective is to introduce a new brand for that market that is not being served now. So you say that you will launch a new product for a new segment of consumers, and therefore the goal of your promotional activity will be to introduce these new products or brands, or an extension. Another common objective is to build or maintain loyalty. Sometimes you don't want to focus on new consumers or bringing new customers, but maybe because there are no more customers maybe. But what you want to do is to increase the loyalty of existing customers, because you don't have more room to grow in terms of market share. What you want to concentrate is on your existing customers, and what you want to do is to please them, to pamper them, to give strengthen the relationship you have with them, which is building or maintaining loyalty. Another need or objective is to create an image or meaning for the brand. This is especially true for new businesses that are just starting or that have been for a short time in operation, and people don't know them yet. The public out there do not know them, do not have an idea of what they are about, what they sell, what are the benefits they offer. So then what you want is do promotional activities to create an image for the brand, right? Then you have another objective, which is to do something like that, but with business customers, with the trade channel. That's the way it is in the textbook. So you have to choose and lay out at least one of these promotional needs and objectives and tell why based on the SWOT analysis, right? Of course, this is something that is the basis on which the rest of the project will be developed. Now, something important, you don't have to tell yet what are the specific marketing activities you will do. That's, you have to be very, very clear on this. At this point, you don't have to say yet that you will do advertisement, that you will do public relations, not yet. That will be in part 4. Then part 2, you have to tell what is the STP strategy. You have to tell what are the bases for segmentation. Which basis for segmentation, this is from chapter 4, are the ones that are relevant to group your customers, to divide the market out there so that you can identify which one you go after. And these bases for segmentation are usage pattern or frequency of in customers, geographic, demographic, psychographics, and segmentation by benefit. So you have to say which one of those are the relevant variables or bases for segmenting customers. If you say that you will segment customers based on demographics, well, you have to explain which demographic variables, age, gender, income, etc. If you say that is based on psychographic, well, you have to say which specific variables in psychographic base, lifestyle, values, etc. Or any of the others. You don't have to say all of them, right? You don't have to describe all these segmentation variables. No, only the ones that are important and relevant for your specific consumer, because based on that you will describe the next thing, which is who is the specific target market you go after, the description of a target segment. Based on this segmentation, the target segment that I go after is college students between 18 and 23 years old who come from out of town, etc., who are interested in certain activities like outdoors, for example, assuming that you are doing this on a business that serves that market. So you have then to provide the basis for segmentation. You have to describe the target segment you go after, and then provide a positioning, a desired positioning, how you propose that the business should be positioned. And this is something that you will accomplish by conducting the promotional activities that you recommend. And this positioning part has to include what is the positioning theme. There are 3 positioning themes. These are in chapter 4. Is positioning theme based on benefits, based on the users, and based on competition. So remember to look at that in chapter 4. Now, in this part 2, the section that is next is what are the salient beliefs and attitudes that you want to influence. And this is something that will be derived from all what you've done so far. What is what customers or the target segment that you have identified, what is what they think about you, and what is what you want them to think, what is what you want them to believe after exposure to your promotional and advertising campaigns or activities. For example, if one of your promotional needs is to inform or persuade, you want to inform or persuade that you are a restaurant with a variety of food or low prices or high quality, whatever you find in the SWOT analysis that is a weakness, then you say, because people believe there is a perception out there that our food is not of good quality, therefore my promotional objective or need that I will accomplish is to inform and persuade that we offer good quality food. So that is the salient belief and attitude you want to influence. So this has to be aligned and consistent. There has to be a connection between what you say in part 1 and what you say in part 2, right? So here you will describe what are those things that you want customers to believe or the attitudes that you want them to have towards your brand. And this is something that will be here in part 2. Chapter 5 will tell you this part about salient beliefs and attitudes. So make sure to check chapter 5. Then in part 3, you have to provide a creative brief. This is something that you can find an example of a creative brief in your textbook in chapter 8, specifically page 168. You will tell, again, you have to synthesize your product or service, who are your competitors, which, one more time, these are things that you already know. Who is your target market? What is the problem that your product or service addresses? Well, this is a business that fixes electronic devices. So the problem we fix on customers is their broken tablets or computers, etc. So what is the problem that you solve? What is the current perception that the public has, and what is the desired perception, right? Which is regarding salient beliefs and attitudes to influence. Here in this creative brief, you will just synthesize it. What is the desired perception? Well, in order to have that perception, you will have to tell a message. What is the message you're going to tell? You have to say that here briefly, and the 4 creative elements. The creative elements, you don't find them in the textbook. You have to go to the slides in the class. Go to the slides for chapter 8. Watch the video, because that's what it will explain you 4 creative elements, which are the advertising appeal, the executional format or style, the tonality of the ad, and creative tactic or technology. So make sure to look at chapter 8 slides. And one more time, this has to be consistent and aligned with part 2. If in part 2 you say that there are certain beliefs and attitudes to change in consumers, well, that is what should be reflected in the desired perception and the message that you will tell for customers to believe you. If you say, following this example of the restaurant with low quality, if you say that you want to convince the public that you have good quality food, what is the message you will tell them for them to believe you? And that message is what should be communicated in part 4. Up to this point, This is important. So just recall that up to this point, you will not tell what are the specific marketing activities you will do. This is part of the planning process. Up to this point, you will not tell that you will use sales promotions or advertising through social media or search ads in internet or billboards or the newspapers or radio or television. No, that's something that you will describe and lay out in part 4. Part 4 is the integrated marketing communication strategy. Now, because it's part 4, the last one of this project, it doesn't mean that it's a small part. This part covers chapters 9 through 14, because here you will recommend the promotional mix tools to use. What are these promotional mix tools? Well, advertisement, and you have to say which specific advertisement activities, through newspapers, through magazines, television, radio, online, social media. Are you gonna use sales promotions? Are you gonna do more public relations? Are you gonna do events, right? Are you going to do sponsorships? Are you going to use direct marketing, personal selling, or a combination of these? So for this part 4, you have to provide at least 3 promotional mix tools, and you will use a table. You look to the instructions, you will find this in more detail. You have to use a table where you say which specific tool, which channel or media you will use to get the message across to customers, then how that will contribute to the promotional objective, which is something you already covered. So again, you should have an alignment between these components, and that's what I will look for. How these activities, which are through radio, through internet, through personal selling, etc., how these activities contribute to the promotional objective that you established at the beginning. And last but not least, which salient beliefs or attitudes are influenced, how they are influenced. So if you pay attention, these are things that are built upon the previous stages. What I will look for is for congruency, for a consistency between these parts. And one more time, look to the instructions in Blackboard, that you have a tab that says promotional proposal on the left hand side, and don't forget to look at the requirements of formatting and style, right? You have some specific indications there. You have to have a cover page, you have to have a table of contents, references, etc. Send me an email if you have any question. Thank you.